Well, hello guys, welcome back to my channel again. I'm Tassos, here we play video games, we talk about them, sometimes do even both. And today, you're gonna be watching some footage of me playing, but I'm gonna be doing the talking, mostly. So, what are we talking about today? What happened? Don't you read titles no more? We're talking about Splatterhouse, the very first one, the arcade, that came out in 1988. So, I've been trying to begin this video the right way, and I've been thinking, what's the right thing to say in this case? How do you start this? And let me tell you what. I'll just throw everything out the window, and I'm gonna tell you this. Picture yourself in the arcades in the mid-80s, mid to late 80s, like 85, 86, 87, because this is basically where our story starts. What games are you going to be seeing there? Probably Commando, Double Dragon, Radius, like, you have those types of games, like shooter games, lots of shooter games, run and gun games, and it was basically just starting. The side-scroller beat-em-ups genre have just started to kick off with Double Dragon, and initially with Renegade. What we didn't have, though, it was a serious-toned horror game. Think about it. There were some attempts here and there. I've even made a video. I think I have made a video before, like it's a quite old video actually. I don't even remember if I made this like in Greek or in English, where I was talking about 3D Monster Maze, which according to me on that specific video was like the grandfather of all horror games. But yeah, in a sense, from my point of view, you might see why I would say that, but we didn't have serious horror games. And Namco decided, let's open that door and let's make this happen. Namco decided they were the ones who were going to give us a serious toned horror game. Not just horror themed, because, already at this point we had horror themed games. I mean, come on, even in, console-wise, like we already had Castlevania. There were horror-themed games already. But a serious-looking, spooky game, like something that would rock you off your socks, we haven't seen something like that. Not up until that point. So Namco, the one that's responsible for this, and the one that's responsible for this, and for Mappy, like come on, like Namco, the cutesy company at the time, just decided that, you know what, we're gonna be making this horror game. And the project was led by director Shigeru Yokoyama. Yeah, I'm reading the names because they're far to remember. With chief planner Kazumi Mizuno and Hayapaya. That's a pseudonym. His real name was Hayakawa. And art was to be made by Ishida and Takashi Oda, and the programmer named Ito-kun, another pseudonym. I tried to find the real name for this guy, and there are some sources that list him as Techuo Funatsu, but that has never been confirmed by Namco themselves, which is weird and kind of gets me riled up, because we know about Ito-kun that back in college he was the weirdo who would analyze sesame seeds. Why would you give that kind of information but not his real name? It was his debut as programmer, though. Imagine that, like kickstarting your career as a developer, as a programmer, with Splatterhouse. Now, Kazuo Mizuno, the chief planner, the producer, had pointed out in an interview that it struck him as weird why games like Death Race, that were made back in was made back in 1976, was banned for cruelty, but anything goes with movies and TV, and that just goes to show the mindset of Japanese people versus here in the West, especially back in the day, because they most certainly considered video games to be just another form of entertainment. So why won't you allow adults to have their adult content? So what they set out to do basically is push the boundaries of the arcade industry, and see what they could allow them to create at this point. Splatterhouse was definitely heavily influenced by lots of horror movies, mostly by Friday the 13th and Evil Dead 2. But there's lots of references in there, and you could basically, if you play this game, you will be able to just point at the screen and start naming horror movies, and that's exactly basically what happened when they did some location testing for the game, and the people from the team remember seeing the kids pointing at the screen and saying, "Oh, this is from that, this is from this." The development of the game was something that took too long for an arcade game at the time. It took like 14 months. It ran on Namco System 1, a board that already had like 10 games being developed on it. So there was some reference. They basically knew its workarounds, they knew its limits. But that wasn't enough. They needed like 14 months to complete said project. And it wasn't just because of hardware limitations. Like, their biggest issue was their management team that was absolutely terrified of the possibility of the game receiving a backlash from parents or whatnot, because they really set out to do something that they knew it had to be gory and shocking. So they kept pushing back at the team. They forced them to do lots of changes. They basically sessioned the game a little too much, and they constantly made them go back to the drawing board. So, like I said, limited memory, hardware limitations. They wanted to put too much stuff in it, and it goes to show that they have so much cut content. So much content got scrapped, basically. There were sprites of enemies that we never saw in the game, like bomb-strapped corpses, a headless beast, like, was constantly blocking, and that's the way it's been described. And there is also like this photo of the development team smiling and waving. And it was supposed to have a simultaneous two-player mode. That also got scrapped, unfortunately. Yeah, and let's go to the voice samples, just to give you an idea of how big Splatterhouse was. They had a dedicated piece of memory of 1 megabyte with voice samples. That's a lot. Just to give you a perspective, 1 megabyte was your baseline Super Nintendo game in 1990. Okay? Now we're talking 87 at the time this game is being developed. 1 megabyte just for the voice samples. That's a lot. And as the crew said in an interview, ideas kept coming in. Even though with that already having like 1 megabyte of voice samples, those kept coming in. The composers and the ones responsible for the Haunting soundtrack, one of them is Katsuro Tajima. The other one was Kawamoto. He was also the one who was voicing Jennifer in the game, one of the two characters. I'll be talking about the initially seemingly cliche story for this game. So they had trouble making the voices. They would go, like the composers themselves, they would go in front of the microphones and trying to make all these whelps and yelps of the monsters, and it was embarrassing. And at one point, they were trying to make the popping sound of the beheadings from the game. So Mizuno, he basically goes in there, goes up ahead and goes in front of themselves, and just in front of the microphone, put his lips back, together, and put some force behind with air, and goes like, and that was the popping sound they used for the beheadings in the game. Absolutely amazing stuff. So like I said before, 14 months, the management team was pushing back, asking for more revisions, asking for more changes, not revisions. And they were adamant they didn't want the game to have red blood. In their own words, as they said, if your game is going to be about killing, you're not allowed to make it realistic. That's the problems they run into. Like, that's some creative issues they had. So eventually the game does get released in November of 88 in Japan, and in North America in March of 89. None of the backlash expected by Namco became a reality. The most negative thing that did happen was owners of establishments in the West that could afford to have an arcade cabinet were being skeptical of the idea of owning one of these cabinets because of its gory nature. But this is like the worst thing that basically happened. In fact, if I recall correctly, NARC came after this and did stir the waters a lot, especially with parents. But with this one, nothing really bad happened. The game didn't do that well in the West. In Japan, it did quite well. It landed as like a 6th best arcade at the time. It was successful enough. It wasn't so successful like to reach the heights of Pac-Man per se, but it was successful enough. Nevertheless, it was successful enough to be brought over to the PC Engine, or as we know it in the West, TurboGrafx 16, and give us later on 2 sequels. Also had a prequel in the Famicom. I forgot about that. And also a reboot in 2010. I do have it also on. Before we jump into the actual story and show the game, I also want to point out how even fan lore surrounded this game. And it started with people trying to analyze what Rick Taylor, the main character in this game, the protagonist, is wearing. And speaking about Rick Taylor took his name from Rick Baker, special effects master from back in the day, Takashi Oda's one of Takashi Oda's biggest heroes, who was also responsible for the design of the sprite of Rick Taylor. Rick Taylor was a carbon copy of Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th through and through, and in fact, even on the folder where the sprite was saved by Takashi Oda. Takashi Oda, by the way, was fresh out of college, part-time working. Imagine how young he must have been. Like, one of the very first projects he gets is make the sprite for Rick Taylor, and he basically named it with 4 letters, J-S-O-N, Jason, just without the A, because he could only afford 4 characters. Amazing stuff. And like I said, the lore, I was speaking about the lore. So people were trying to rationalize what Rick Taylor was wearing in the game, and they said that initially, before the story became what it basically became, he must have been a mental institute fugitive. And that has never been confirmed by Namco whatsoever. They basically state that no, the story was going to be like the story you got from the very beginning. The couple of two parapsychologists having a major in parapsychology go into the West Mansion to investigate. Things get hairy. They get attacked by monsters. Yada yada yada. Jennifer gets abducted, and Rick Taylor is left for dead. This hockey mask that supposedly is possessed or having some kind of entity inside it latches onto Rick's face, gives him powers. He becomes a hulking beast and starts beating ghouls and ghosts and a bunch of different monsters up until he reaches Jennifer. But we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the story. I'll also have to list all three full of the names of the guys who were responsible for the music on this one. There were Katsuro Tajima, Yoshinori Kawamoto, also the voice of Jennifer in the game, and Yuichiro Komoriya. These guys were also like the two first of them, Katsuro Tajima and Yoshinori Kawamoto, were basically responsible for the bulk of the voices, the voice samples. They made all those whelps and yelps of the monsters, and they were the ones that were having trouble making a sound for, you know, the popping sound for the beheadings, where the man, the legend, Kazuo Mizuno just went in front of the microphone and went like crazy good stuff. Now, let's pop the game and let's see what's what, and I'll try to be explaining to you exactly what I'm seeing, and we'll analyze the game as we watch together. So, here we see Rick, presumably dead, and this is the hockey mask, obviously. Latches on his face, and he gets rejuvenated. This is where our game begins. And starting here, I have to say that this level reminds you nothing of a house. Like, it seems like a cavern, some kind of cave. It must be the basement, because at the end of it, you see a ladder. Look at this in the cages in the background. Look at the floor, like the dead body, the moving bodies, like the bodies of. Look at that, like those things twitching, like in the background, like behind the cages, behind the bars. So much uncanny valley on it. Like, I'm watching it and I'm having goosebumps right here, because you can't tell they don't have any specific characteristics. You know, it's vague. And here we have the boar worms. That's the first boss. I don't know what's that fleshy thing in the background, but, you know, they definitely remind you of the chest bursters. Some people might also want to add, like, the deadly spawn, if they want to make, like, you know, as a reference. But I think it's a chest burster. Like, even the final move of the hanging corpse, like, bursts open and this thing comes out. It's like, this thing screams alien. And then we go like to level 2, stage 2, and haunting imagery. Now I remind you, this is 1988. This thing started being developed like in 87. There's, again, those hanging corpses. You can see that the blood is green. They just couldn't have it. And in this part, you get yourself like in a sure type place. And there's those creatures that they look as if they're made out of water. And the sounds they're making, like, they're spooky. Come on, this game is like the perfect thing for Halloween. I know it's too early, like Rezi said. I don't know if you're watching this, but that's a game you want to play on Halloween. And then we have yet another movie reference. This is definitely like references like the Poltergeist. Things started falling, you know, paranormal activity. Now the chair will start moving. Of course, it has to go up against your fists, and you have knives being thrown at you. It's going to be one at first, and then there's going to be two. Look at that. Whoa. That is classic. Of course, like, if you memorize the patterns, it doesn't look that hard, doesn't feel that hard, but yet, it's an arcade game. It's not like the PC Engine or Turbo Graphics. I can practically beat it on one credit, like almost practically, like with little effort. But this one is hard. I won't say it's unbeatable, because nothing is unbeatable. Look at these dogs. And here I tried to do a trick that it didn't quite work in my favor this time. I lost, obviously. I lost like probably more than 5 or 6 times in this game, mainly because of the level before the last one, the 6th one. Here we have the corpses that spit acid on you or something. There's another shotgun here that you want to pick up. So you exit one part of the mansion, you go out in the woods, and there's this guy, this hulking beast, wearing a sack of potatoes on his head. They call him the Biggie Man. And I beat him with an inch of my health. Still standing. Then go to stage 4, and this is one of the, if not the, it's not the most haunting. It's definitely up there though. Like, and I'm not talking about this part. This part is fairly normal. If anything, nothing is normal in this game. But if anything, this looks quite normal. Here we go. Like, and have I got things to say about this part? Mirrors, guys. Mirrors are spooky. Yourself attacks you through the mirrors. I didn't used to have problems with mirrors, but really think about it. Just looking at it, and I also reminisce of the psychological horror that goes with mirrors. Like one very good example is, if you're conscious in your sleep, like in your dreams, don't you ever look inside a mirror. And yourself attacks you through the mirror. Like, this is spooky stuff. Spooky stuff in your dreams. So if you happen to be conscious in your dreams and you have a mirror in front of you, don't look in the mirror. And this is the part that could easily get flagged. This is an upside down cross. Good lord. It's waking up the proper Englishman inside of me. Like, seriously, I think this is one of the most disturbing things. Am I one of the most religious people you're gonna meet in your life? Probably not. This shit right here makes me so uncomfortable. You're having this fight in a chapel of all places, with flying zombie heads surrounding that inverted cross. And this is the part that's heavily censored, both in the Turbo Graphics and the PC Engine version. In the PC Engine, not so much. I think the altar is still there, or not. I don't remember. Like, I think on the Turbo Graphics, the censorship is even worse, because the altar is not there. I think the altar is there on the PC Engine version. Help me if I'm wrong. Like, I have uploaded a full playthrough of the PC Engine version, and you can definitely not hear the screams of Jennifer in the end. Here, look at that. Their hands flipping the bird. They're flipping you. Good lord. Definitely an Evil Dead reference. Then you move on in this place, and there's these flying purple ghosts throwing skulls at you. That's like one of the things I find really hard to avoid. Look at that. Holy crap. And they're laughing after that. Oh, I got them good. Oh, they got me too. I know what's gonna happen. That's why I'm waiting there. Ooh, I got hit twice. And now we have another section. Yet another section is near, like in my head, like I have this counter. And this is like probably the most haunting thing in the entire game. You finally reach your girlfriend. You reach Jennifer. And she transforms into this thing. And the screams she's making, the evil laughs she's making when she's attacking you. Then she reverts back to human and cries out for help. That's really disturbing. Look at that. She's pleading. She's asking for your help. And then she transforms back into that thing, laughing and attacking you. Dude, this is 1988. That's disturbing in so many levels. And I mean it. Like, this is... That's horror right there. They didn't have the technology we have today. Those sprites look creepy as hell. And remember how I was telling you? This initially seems like a cliche story, boy saves girl and all that jazz. Well, no. You're forced to strike down... I don't even want to say it. And oh my god. And she gives you a final goodbye. Her spirit disperses out of your hands. And now you go full of rage. You have nothing left. There's only revenge in your mind. It's impactful. This is crazy. And this is the most hellish level of the entire game. In fact, this is the hardest level in the entire game. This is like the it's called, I think it's called the womb. The womb. There's like so many these bubbles, like they burst and the embryos come out of it. Like, this is super creepy stuff. Look at that. Oh. And I can't list how many times I lost on that level in the arcade. On the PC Engine one, I don't lose that often, but maybe it's because I went through that shit too many times. And look at that. Look at aggressive as hell at that point. You don't stop beating the shit out of that thing. Those things are coming after you. You just don't stop. You try your best. Look at that. And I'm doing so good. I think it's one of the very few times that I beat this without it touching me whatsoever. And it explodes like disgusting explosion. And this is the final level. This is where we basically wrap things up. Because after destroying that thing, basically the house gets burned down, it gets destroyed, and you try to run away. Look at those. You don't hit those fiery ghouls, like they're burning up and then trying to flee as well. It's like hell broke loose. Like, look at the forest behind. But you're not done yet. There's one last thing you must do. And you see that cross over there? There's this essence that comes out from your mask. Seems to me the bad guy, the villain, the biggest villain of all is this mask. Like, the game gives you hints. It gives you ideas. It shows. It doesn't tell you, it shows you. That thing, some people affectionately call it the mozzarella man. Good lord, look at it. Just look at this thing. That thing got awoken because of your freaking mask. It did something. You saw it. And now you have to fight it. And look at that. That's absolutely disgusting. It tries to crawl out of the ground, but not really. It's like a gigantic corpse that's perpetually cursed to stay underground. Look, partially released. Like, look at that. And eventually you beat the beast. Good lord, that was amazing. And here we go to the credits. The mask gets destroyed, probably because of what you did. Fighting that thing resulted in destroying the mask. And here you go, credits. Yokoyama, director. you're gonna see those names, because with me just saying them, just spelling them, or trying to spell them doesn't work. So just you hearing me saying those names doesn't really help much. Art director, that is the game. And in the end, we get to see exactly what happens. We have a cliffhanger over there. We see the pieces of the mask. They go back together. That was Splatterhouse and the retrospective video. I hope you liked it. See you next time. Keep gaming. Have a good one.